So, Onshape. We've learned how to make parts. We've learned how to get several parts, assemble them together to some extent. And then yesterday we got into generating drawings of individual parts, which I think is very handy if ever you go to fabricate something. Now, what I want to do is take like a half step backwards so that we can introduce exploded drawings. So we're going to have to explode something. A little pyrotechnics, huh? So I believe we've uncovered what exploded views are. If not, it's basically when you take an object and you pull it apart. So here, I'm learning this software as well, so I'm using this tutorial, and it shows this assembly with many parts. And in order to identify where things connect with each other, you can explode them apart to give a better sense of how things connect. So I'm going to pull this aside, and I'm going to show you how to explode stuff in here. First thing, you're going to have to open up an assembly. Here I have our crank slider. And now what we're going to do on the right-hand side of the screen, right down, there, at the bottom we have the Exploded Views tab. Now, once you click this, it's going to open up this window, which is very much like a model browser. So you can have several types of exploded views depending on how large the thing is, but this is fairly simple, so we're just going to add an exploded view here. And for Explode 1, what we need to do is identify the first part that we are going to move. So I'm going to sneak a view all the way inside of it. There we go. And I'm going to use my arrow to move it a little bit, and this is going to bring up a settings window. Now in this window, I think the critical thing is the distance. Now, you can just drag the parts out, but it looks sloppy. Nobody wants them sloppy exploded views. We want something with regimentation. So I'm just identifying -6. It's going to be going in the, one of the planes. And it's going to send it out 6 inches. Great. Now that I've already activated this exploded view, you can see this rollback bar, and that kind of identifies that you are editing this exploded view. Since it's still active, I can click a new part, I can drag it, and it's going to automatically generate the next exploded view step. I'm going to keep that 6-inch regimentation and continue on. Now I can click this one, drag in another direction, specify my distance, okay, and we are well on the way. And basically, when you're doing this, you're trying to think of how it gets assembled and what makes sense for undoing your assembly. So for this, I would think the pins go after you connect your rods. Yeah, I guess I can get into this. Now, if you have several parts that you want to remove together, I'm going to do both these pins at the same time. What you can do is select 1, 2 items. It's that simple. When you drag it, they're going to move together and create one single step with multiple parts moving. Now, I'm going to undo this because I want to show you what happens if you mess up. Because it's going to happen. People mess up all the time, and that's fine. So we'll continue. We're going to move this rod. And we're going to move it -6 inches. Okay. And then I realized, oh man, I want to move the other pin too. Don't fret. For all you must do is double-click Explode Step 4, and it opens up that edit window. You can select your other items as well. Alright. So, now we've exploded this a bit. What I'm going to do is just finish up here. I'm going to explode this thing -3, so that's halfway in between. And then I'm going to do -3 here. And 3. Okay. So now I can zoom out and see the entire exploded view. Looks pretty good. If you double click your explode, it will activate or deactivate the explosion. That's super handy, just in case you want to look at the original object and continue playing around with animation or whatever it may be. Alright, so that's step one. We're just exploding this part, making one explosion set so that we can go and put it into a drawing. Next step, we're going to make a new drawing. Create drawing. We're using our ANSI A shape. We're getting antsy. The anticipation is overwhelming. Alright, so now we got it open. I want to identify a different menu here, or option. Part Studios, Assemblies. We're going to pick Assemblies, and we're going to choose Assembly 1. Now here it's going to let you drop that, that base view. And you can change what view you're putting in, as always. Now, here I think what we should do is an isometric view. And we're going to change that scale, make it a little bit larger. Let's see. Alright. Quarter. Nah, let's go more. Let's go. Third. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Alright. So I've got my assembly in here. And now what I want to do is I want to insert another view. So here I've got my assembly again. I'm going to change the view to isometric. I'm going to then choose an explode position. Explode 1. This one may have to be a little bit smaller. Let's go 1 to 4. Okay. And I can include this. Now, I didn't necessarily generate a very beautiful explosion here. It's kind of confusing. However, it is the gist. We have our original drawing in 1 to 3 scale. We have our exploded view, and it's even identified the scale for us so that the viewer can see the difference. And here, you could make a page for some project that you're working on that has the actual object, and then it could be the same page or a different page, depending on size, that shows how everything kind of explodes out, connects together. Alright, now for the purpose of actually just making an exploded view, let's work on making this look nicer. What I want you to do is delete your stuff. Okay, we're going to reinsert our exploded view. So we're going to insert assembly, assembly 1, explode 1, and let's make this view isometric. Cool. Looks pretty good to me. Scale's nice. Alright. So, now what we're going to do to help make this look a little bit easier to follow, I'm using 2-point center line. It's not necessarily the exact type of line that you would use, but it does the job. And that's really what we're after here. So, now what I can do is, I guess that doesn't do such a hot job at showing that. I'll tell you what, let's go back into our assembly. We're going to go to our exploded view, and we are going to shift this object. Let's see, let's go 6, so it pops out more. Not sure, which ones did we not like? Yeah, let's get this rod to go in. Oh, nope, we're going to edit that. That should be -6. Alright, accept that. And now, let's see, deselect everything. I'm just going to make sure. Let's see, delete that. Alright, I have to redo this. No big deal. 6. Alright. Because what we're trying to do, we're trying to get this to look nicer. Now I'm back in my drawing, and there's a highlighted button at the top. update from this workspace. So as you are editing the original file, you can use that to refresh your drawing here. Give it a minute, and it's going to update the drawing. Alright, so now I can see my parts, and what I can do with this line, I can have these lines carry on from the center here to, let's see, center here. I can have this line, I'm identifying the center of the circle, that's going to go in as well. Here this pin, for some reason, did not move. That's fine. But all I'm doing is I'm adding these lines that show where the parts go. Yes, this is ugly. I would not, this would be a scrap and redo, but the video is long enough. Yeah, probably do multiple views on this to show where parts go. But anyway, what we covered: how to explode things, how to turn that into a drawing, how to update your drawings with updated files, and how to generate lines to show where things connect. Try to submit a better version of this than I did on your LDL sheet, and have a happy Friday.